Hey, Cricket. All right, fine. Come on, Cricket.
It's not long. That tiny moment of anticipation before the next song. But it's all the time we need. We've already studied every note, every beat, to bring you this song. Your song. Right here.
All right, let's do some twitching. Let me turn down my outgoing audio here. All right, so we've got, today we're gonna just do a quick recap of how I got my texture maps done in Substance Painter and then export everything over to Marmoset. So let's hide this up here. Actually, I was working on just had a couple hours today, actually about an hour to work on this guy. I'm just gonna try to prep this up for some 3D printing action. So I'm just going through and merging a couple objects here. I had to fix the holes on the head. And then I've got, trying to do a base here for the collar. I'm going to try to put these up all separately. And I was going to do some booleans to get some cutters out for the different pieces. Here's the head piece. And also I was going to try to do the tubing separately. So I'll probably jump on that tomorrow. I gotta close this off and put little connectors in there. So probably like one 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And obviously I can't print out, I mean I can print out the helmet, but, and the glass plate, but it'll be solid. So those are pieces I was thinking about trying to print out. But for now, let's talk about Substance Painter. And I'll start with this. And let's go over to, actually let's do this really quick. Let's show you guys what I ended up doing in Maya first, just to be thorough on the workflow. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask in the chat window. Let me just go ahead and send a message there so you guys are aware that this works. Hello. If I can type, ask any questions here. All right. Looks like I have 3 viewers up right now. Thanks for viewing in. Just finishing up a cup of coffee after a good seafood dinner tonight. All right, so what I ended up doing, just I'm gonna do a quick recap here, so I'm not gonna go through all the steps. So in Maya, I had to export all my pieces out. I did all my unwrapping in ZBrush, which using the UV master works great because you can specify your poly groups and get a really nice unfold there. Let me just do a quick tweet. Do this one more time. Let's tweet that out really quickly. All right. Cool, we got more people showing up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, so quick recap here is I was going to show really quickly where I left off was I was prepping all the maps for Painter, I think 2 days ago, and I ended up doing it yesterday in the daytime. I didn't get a chance to jump on last night. It crashed pretty early after I put Willa down. So I'm going to be back here for a little bit tonight showing you guys how I set this up. So in Painter, in ZBrush I used the UV Master. I used the great polygroup feature. So these are all being merged together, but for instance, when I was doing the mask, the faceplate here, I'll just show you this really quickly. So I have 2 different polygroups. So there's an inner and the outer. And really nicely, I was able to go into UV Master, and actually I gotta pop up my menu over here. Come on. It's always hard to grab this with the stylus. There we go. All right. So UV Master, you gotta work on a clone because I have subdivision on here. Work on a clone, and then you basically just say polygroups on, do symmetry, unwrap, and check your seams, and you'll see here the red line. And if I turn off the wireframe, you'll see that there's a nice division there. And then if I flatten this out, you'll see how it did it. Actually, you know what? I think I forgot. This is an older piece. I had an extra polygroup in there, so we can clean that up. Let's go back here. I think what I did was I can see it, yeah, right there. So if I just hide that and then Control A again, I have these 2, and then I hit Control W to make that all one polygroup. So I have 2 separate polygroups. Whoops, hold on. Come on. There we go. All right, now I have two separate poly groups, unwrap, flatten, and then we got our two pieces. So we went and did this for all the geometry, and I like how ZBrush does this really nicely, and you can paint areas that you want to protect and whatnot. So I did this all for all the pieces. Export all these as a low res and also as a high res because I was going to do the baking maps inside Painter. So I had to give it some thought as to the workflow is basically I have a series of maps for each object instead of trying to put everything into one texture UV set and have it all be like combined. I wanted to have separate control over those of the pieces. So once I had all these things in their space, I exported everything out, and I did this on the low res model because that's the one where we're going to be painting on. So export that out to Maya. And so for instance here, as I select on these guys, you'll see that I went through and I cleaned up the orientation for a lot of the stuff, especially for these guys here. And I'm just maximizing the 0 to 1 UV space. And here's how everything turned out. And these are all going to be sent over as individual pieces. Let me hide the face mask. You can see the head has unmapped really nicely too. And then the eyes were just separately done. I just did a quick simple map in Photoshop for the eyes. I just projected it on the Z-axis just to get texture map in there really quickly. Then these were saved out, and this is something I kind of learned this workflow from watching Wes's excellent Substance Painter for Beginners videos. His workflow is this is good. So you basically have your model with your low and your high res model, and you have underscore low, underscore high, and then you can use a feature in Painter. So when you're doing your map baking, then it will recognize that you say use the name of the objects, and what's a high and what's a low will be calculated properly. And for my high res, which I'm only going to have a couple pieces for the high res. Let's actually hide the low, and we'll turn on the high. And you can see here it's going to be a little bit heavy, but basically here's all the sculpted detail. So what you do is you bring this in, you bring both of these in to Substance Painter. You assign the high to be the map baking. So really, I only need to worry about the foam collar, the foam rubber collar, the actual sculpted collar, the face, and the helmet. Everything else, I just went ahead and assigned it like I think I did like a subdivision surface of like 2, because I'm just going to use that just directly in Painter. This is not a game model, so I didn't make a really super low res topology. I just want to get something nice that I could export over to Marmoset and then write out export a Marmoset viewer file. Okay, so everything was set up here. Then this model, I saved the Maya file just so I have a working file. Then I go through and I used FBX export, so I exported the low, exported the high. Then we come over to Painter. Let me hide that. And here's where all the fun happens. So in Painter, let's see here. I was doing a test with this. I just learned this that you could. I was applying the ambient occlusion to the base color, and I was going to try to hit a map for the subsurface scattering, but I don't know if I did it right because somebody said online that you have to use like an inverted normal, and I don't know if I got it to work right, but I was fooling around with this. So this one is just a test. I can turn off this layer, and you'll see that this is what I actually had for the face was this layer here. So I ended up on this one. I think I just ended up using a one of these, not a smart material, but just a material. I found one of these defaults here was a skin shader. I believe it's down here. Yeah, it was one of these skin ones I found, and it was very simple. I just dragged it in here, added I added a fill layer. So here we go. So here's what I did. So this is what you get. So I basically put a fill layer in first, and this is just a color. The skin human. This is what we pop on. So when you first open up the model here, I should go back one step really quickly. So because each of these was assigned its own material in Maya, that way when you open it up into Painter, it comes in what's called a texture set. So you'll see here that each one of these corresponds to the geometry that I want to paint on. So if you go to all, you'll see all the pieces show up. And then you can solo or just turn these off. So I'm going to turn off like the glass plate, and we'll turn off all these pieces. And say for instance, let's just do the face first. This is the one I actually had a face. So here we go. Here's the face. And this is what comes in. So this actually was a low-res model, but once I did the map baking, you can see how the high-res kicked in there. So what you do basically, just a quick down and dirty. When you first bring this in, this is not populated. These channels, these maps are not here. So what we do is you go into Bake Textures, and you set your high poly parameters. So you basically go here, and I grabbed the. Actually, I'm just rebaking. I had to rebake the collar, or one of these pieces I baked, so I had the low res model in because I wasn't referencing anything high. But I grabbed the high res model for the 4 other pieces I needed to bake, and then this always I did by mesh name, and then you can change the subsampling here. So I think I did like 4x4. It took a little while, but it went probably a couple minutes. And then it bakes out these maps: normal, world, space, ID, ambient occlusion, curvature, position, and thickness. Now, I've only been using I mean, I know some of these generators only use like the normal, ambient occlusion, and the curvature. I don't really know too much about the ID and the position and thickness yet. I haven't really been noticing those being used, but they're there if you need them. So those get all baked out, and then actually, what I'm showing here is I'm showing additional maps. If I go back, I can't remember how to show. There's a way to show the other maps. Somehow I did this last night. I can't remember. I showed additional maps. So these are the other maps that it created. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. These are all the ones. Normal, world, space. There's another way I was able to test out because I wanted to actually export the ambient occlusion. So I did something different for that. But anyhow, okay. So here's our face with the maps applied to all the proper slots. So the nice thing about this is then you just basically can drag and drop your stuff over. So I just drag over the skin shader, and it did this. So you can see there's a little bit of texture on here, and you can see there's a little bit of variation. So if you want to see what that's like, you just pop this down, and this is a preset material, so there's a bunch of stuff that they're already doing here. But you can break it down, like there's a dots, and here you can turn all these layers off, and you can see what's contributing, what's not. And you'll see this little red progress bar goes through, and it updates. So I can't really see what that did. It's very subtle. There's some color levels. What is it? Cells. Looks like that might be contributing something. AO color. You can see how that kind of like toggle on and off. There's a sharpen layer. There's some other noise. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this particular. There's a ton of layers in here. So this is a whole preset that is provided. I'll just go ahead and turn this back on. So if I just collapse that folder and turn it off, and initially I just made this fill layer. So this is just like a color. So I was just going to do something like that first. So this is what I did first. I had this, then I made a fill layer, and I applied this a dirt to it. So I'm going to recreate this and show you guys how easy it is to do. So we'll just delete that, and we'll delete this. And so I'll just show you guys. So if you want to add a dirt layer to this, you go here and you will say, you need to go fill layer, because that's where you add all your generators to. And we'll pick a material. We'll just pick like this uniform black. So it applies black here, but you can see you can just toggle it on and off. It's just a layer. And then you right click and you say add a black mask. Then the mask is now selected, and you go right click and you're going to add a generator. And then when you get this little slot here, you click on this, and we're going to pick, these are all the different generators. So we're going to go ahead and pick the dirt. If you hover over it, it should show up MG dirt. So you can see how we just added really quickly a dirt layer, and the image inputs it's using the curvature map and the ambient occlusion map. And so these are the two godsend maps. These are awesome. So this is like, I think ever since I saw the Quixel suite, the Dito stuff, I was like, man, it's like I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. And I got the Quixel suite. I had to use Windows to do it, and it's a plugin to Photoshop, and it was always a hassle to get it to work on the Windows side because I was like doing it through Parallels and whatnot. So when Substance Painter came out, I was like, I got to really jam on Substance Painter because that's native to OS 10 as well. And so there you go. So as long as you have decent UVs laid out, you will be able to generate nice maps that you will then use to drive these effects. So right now, I'm looking at this this here, and you know, I think I wanted the dirt not to be so black, so I went back to this channel and go back to the uniform color, and you can see here as I'm just changing the color. So I think I made it a little bit warmer, add a little bit of brown in there, and then go back to the, click on the mask, and here's where you can do some of the cool stuff. So you can actually go here and click on the generator itself. You can actually see what happens if you invert that mask. You get the inverse. So sometimes you don't know which inversion you need to use, so you can just go ahead and just invert the map. So usually, as I know, it's like if you do a black mask and then you apply this, it'll hit the curve. Sometimes you hit a white mask and do it in the opposite direction. So that's kind of play around with it. And then the dirt level here, this is kind of cool. This is all, there's all these like channels, all these variables that are kicking in. So I think part of it is the amount is, the grunge amount I think is based on your ambient occlusion. So you can see how your ambient occlusion helps kind of define how much of the dirt you're getting in there. We've got grunge amount. I'm sorry, contrast. That's basically what it does there. A nice hard contrast, you get like a nice mask look there. Dirt level, and then edge masking. It's subtle, but it helps tighten up your edge work. And then you can, I don't think there's a scale on here, so I think that's what you get for that one. But if you want to try a different one, you just go here to the generator, you can try a different one. So this one here is, the other go-to one is the MG metal edgeware. So this is like great for hard surface modeling stuff because you get a really tight look on this. And this is one of those where you would want to invert this because, say, your fill layer underneath here would be your base metal. So you can see here where this should be coming through. So you have to go through your map and you would invert it. So you would see the bottom coming through, and this is the edgeware on top. So there's an instance right there where you would want to invert the mask if you accidentally set it to be the other color. Now, I don't know why I'm getting this pattern here. I don't know. It shouldn't matter that the UV high-res map didn't have the proper UV on it, but I'm getting this interesting faceting here, and I don't know why. I just don't know if that's because I didn't have smooth normals on or something when I export the FBX, but I'm going to look into that. But it was very subtle so on the other things I was working on, so it didn't bother me, but I'm just noticing it here, and I got to figure out a way to fix that. And I'm sure it's something I probably forgot to do a proper setting. And yeah, I'm still learning Marmoset too, so I'm sure there's probably something so it's probably something I accidentally didn't include. But anyhow, let's go back and change this back to the dirt. You can see how that's looking pretty good. And you can also go in here like a Photoshop layer, and you can go ahead and dial down the amount. You know, you can go here and multiply it, or do like a screen or an overlay. These are not really affecting because it's the just go normal on that, and then go up to the actual layer itself. You can come over here and take that value down. So that's kind of cool. You can treat it as Photoshop layers. And then the other thing I did for this particular map was the lips. I wanted to add a little bit of detail when I was painting this up on those lips. And so here was a cool idea too, was that, so I just want to add a little bit of texture in the normal map, but I didn't want to add, and I added a little bit of color. So as you're painting on this is the power of Substance Painter. You can actually pick which material you want to affect. So for instance, if you want to affect just the height, you turn off these channels. You have color, height, rough, and metal. You turn off these. You go to your height map, and you can actually dial in the amount of height that you want to show up in your, and you can see how here on the height map it shows up. So for instance, let's go over here and we'll use this default brush. And if I just start painting on it, let's see, is that taking effect? Let me turn off. I'm gonna turn off these guys here and see. You can see the bump there. It's like I'm sculpting detail, but I'm just sculpting. I'm actually just painting in detail that's going to show up in the height map. Let me take it a little bit stronger. There you go. You can kind of see what's going on there. So you can add detail that way. So I just added some wrinkles in the lips to see. I was just testing this out to see if it would work. But you can also say at the same time I want the whatever I'm sculpting there to match the color. You can turn on the color, and then what I paint here, I just happen to have white in here. We'll take it down to like a black. And let me take my object, my brush down. So you can see that when I draw, you can see how the light's picking up the detail. But it's just the normal map, so it's like treating it like a bump map. That's pretty cool. So you can paint all that detail. And so I know that I've been learning also about how people are using this feature to add a lot more detail post sculpting, so they don't bother doing all the little bolts and screws and stuff. They do it all as a normal map. And this is kind of like coming from the game world mentality. And the cool thing about this is too, this is just the layers. You can turn this off. You can just toggle it off, toggle off and on. So that's great. You can go ahead and do that. Go ahead and you can just erase this. Just remove what I just did. So that's a very powerful feature, and that's a new workflow for me that I'm learning to. I have to start learning maybe to take that into account as I'm designing some pieces. So I'm in ZBrush, and I'm like, is this piece going to be just a game asset, or is it going to be a 3D printed asset, or whatever? But if I want to do something that's a nice, concept art presentation piece, do I need to spend all that time modeling all that stuff? I can just, I can go through here and add, for instance, you got these little things in here. You can add these screw bolts. Let's take this down. You can go through here and you can add, elements like this. You have to actually model this stuff. Just like using a stencil, and you can make whatever you can customize these as well. That's pretty cool. And when you are like viewing it from this size, it works. And as I also move the map around, you can see how this is showing you in real time, the light reflecting on it, which is pretty cool. So that's a really powerful feature, and I'm just getting to learn how to use this too. It took me a little bit of a leap to like what, you can actually paint on like 4 different layers inside the layer, but once you kind of make that leap, you're like, wow, it's really powerful. So I highly recommend to watch Wes's Substance Painter for Beginners on the YouTube channel, on the Logarithmic YouTube channel. I'm watching it myself too, because I need a total refresher on it. So I'm watching it from the beginning. Excuse me. So I went through and painted all these guys up. I just kind of ruined what I was doing there before, but I'll just show you the different levels. So we did the helmet back next. So this one I think was just I tried one of the smart materials, this machinery, which is great. I used this before on that sticker robot piece I did, but when you just drop, I'll just show you this. So this one I just use a smart material. You just go over here, and it's the one with the yellow here, the machinery. So if you just drag and drop it over, and it'll apply it. So that it's nice because it uses like the Y axis. So you can see here you got this dirt layer that is on top, which is giving you the correct dirt falling from the sky and landing on faces that face upward. And you've got the grunge and stuff on the bottom here. So that's pretty sweet. And then you go over here and you want to edit it. So there's the dust. You can actually turn the dust off. You can see how if you turn the dust off, the dust goes away. Turn it back on. Then you go over to the paint layer. You can see what this looks like. There's a rusty metal layer underneath it. You can turn that off, and then you turn off this. So that's basically, you can see how you can see how it's layered up. It's really easy. And you can go into any of these layers and change it up. So if you go here and expand this folder, you saw the dirty paint and clean paint. So this is where I changed the colors. I went over here and just grabbed this, and I always want to experiment with some colors. I want to make it like a dirty white. So I think I just dropped this value down, and then came over here, and we took the saturation on that one. And I just basically made like a white surface. And if I think it's still too shiny, I can go through and the roughness, I think it was right here. So you can see how you can actually dial the uniform color in, and you can change that as well. So it's just, there's so many variables here that you can work on. You can change that up. You see how you can see how it's affecting in the reflection map. So I love this. So cool. I mean, it's like just you know, in the old days, you have to like paint all this stuff by hand and like paint all these layers, and you know, how's it going to react? And here you can see everything. You can see it all in real time. You can see how your roughness is going to react, and how your, you know, your metal layers are going to react, and you can move the map around and see how different lighting scenarios. You can change this background too. So you go over to the viewer settings, and right now I'm using this bus garage, and right now the let's see here. I've got environment blur is on. So if I take the blur down, this is what I'm using. It's one of the default maps. Is this bus garage, and you can play around with the exposure. It's all real time. So say for instance we want to try another environment. We'll try this one here. So you can move it around. See how the lighting's affecting your model. You know, this is all for the game guys. You know, they use this stuff all the time to test out their stuff in real time. This is what it's going to look like in the engine. So I'm really excited about finally learning the UE4 editor and taking the stuff over there, because I really want to do some kind of a sketchbot, robot, interactive experience. Try to do an iOS app or something. So I'm really interested in getting that to work. So yeah, you can blur out your background so you're not too distracted by what's there, and kind of concentrate on your maps. Let's go back to the texture set list. We'll turn on our foam rubber. This one I just kind of tried. I put like a rubber map on, a rubber texture on it, and then I added a dirt layer to kind of see if it was like kind of like a crushed old leather on there. And if I felt I needed some extra stuff, I can actually add other layers and paint on it. One of the cool things too is, like, let me show you guys here on the face. If you go back to the face, and you want to do some of the cool particle stuff. So say we want to add some streaks and stuff to this. So if you go and add just add a new layer. Now this is just a layer, not a fill layer. And then you can go over to particles, and let's pick a color here. So we're gonna streak on the uniform black, and then we'll do this heavy leaking, and you basically come over here and you just drag and drop, and you see how you can paint on this kind of stuff with using the cool particle stuff. So I gotta go over here, move this here, try it here. Something's up with my stylus right now, so I'm pressing really hard. I have to go back to the mouse here just to kind of get it to kick in full time. But check that out. And you can see how it drops down based on the gravity. You can actually change it too. Sometimes I find it, if you're, say for instance your map was in a different orientation and you needed to go downward, you can actually change this normal factor to 0, and it will always face downward. So try this again. Add some more grunge there. There's like a liquid stream. Let's see what this one does. And I think this is going a little slow because I have my geometries. I have a lot of geometry in here, but usually this goes a little quicker. That's pretty cool. Let's actually undo that. And it's all your strokes are being recorded, so this stuff can be up-resed. You can change your map resolution. Right now, the texture set is set to 2K, but you go up to 4K, and it will recompute all this stuff because they're recording all your moves in there. This one's kind of fun. The veins. Let's try this and let's change this color. Just kind of see what it looks like. We'll do like just something like that. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Might be a little choppy too on the broadcast, but it's really fun to play around with. And again, this is just another layer, so guess what? Oh, you don't like it? Just turn it off. Or you can turn it back on. You can do, let's do like an overlay on that. Or let's see what happens if we do a screen. And then you can take the screen down. So again, it's all adjustable. This is like so powerful. It's like Photoshop right here. Photoshop with like layers, I should say. And then you can go in, you can actually, just use some of this stuff and just, paint whatever you want. So, I mean, I've never used Mari, and I know that a lot of the pro people are like, oh well, Substance Painter only does 4K maps, but I'm sure they're gonna get up to 8K. But I mean, I don't need anything more than 4K right now, and I've been doing this stuff at 2K maps for concepting and stuff, so it's great. Not to knock Mari, because I just haven't tried it, but I'm thinking that I don't really need to worry about Mari at this stage. I'm just having a blast using this app right here. And plus, I only paid 99 bucks for it because I'm using it as an indie license, because I'm actually using it in production right now. But once I do use it in production, I will upgrade to the pro license. So I have to say, for the price, you can't beat it. Same thing with Marmoset too. It's like really inexpensive to get in and start playing around with it. I love it. It's so fast and responsive. It's really fun. And that's what it should be all about, right? Fun when you're doing your art. You shouldn't be having to fight the tools. This is pretty cool. And again, so all that stuff I do here, then when I decide to use this as a map, I just bake it out. So it'll bake out all this into one map, and then you can use it wherever you need to. So I did this for all the pieces. We'll go through here. Here's the helmet ring. I added like a little metallic with some grunge on it. The collar was actually really fun too. So let's solo this out. Oops, let's go to the collar. There we go. So, this was like, let's do some hard surface modeling and keep it all as one piece for now, and just like to kind of bang out a concept. And then it was to bring it in and just get that amazing edge wear based on the map. It just was so quick. It's like I didn't even think about it. And again, I was learning a lot too by watching that other guy on YouTube, Christopher. I think his name is Christopher Dess. He's been showing a lot of his techniques and stuff. And it's very simple stuff. Just how do you build up your layers? You basically we'll just do this from scratch. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll just delete all this stuff here. It's really fast. So you bring your model in. Here's the default, and say okay, it's a metal piece. So let's do a let's go ahead and we'll add a fill layer, and we'll say it is, what is this, uniform, I can't read these, copper, what else we got here, uniform pure, that's a little too shiny. They actually have a couple grunged up steels in here, I think. Let me see, there we go. So they got like this steel that's got some pits and stuff in it, which is nice. And again, that's just showing up in the normal map. What's this one here? That one's a little too bumpy. Metal plates, has a texture map on it. This one has some ridges on it. Let's see. That's interesting. Let's go back. Let's go steel bumped. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, we'll use that one. Alright, so there's your base metal, and then we add another fill layer, and then this is going to be our paint. So let's say I'm going to just pick a uniform plastic here as my paint layer. So now I want the paint to be the chipped, roughed edges. This is where it all shines right here. So now you go through here, you add your black mask, and you add a generator. Click on, and this is the best one right here, the MG metal edge wear. So you see there, I should have picked a white mask, but it's no problem. You just go in here and invert the mask. Bam, instant edge wear. Look at that. I mean, that's how simple it is. And then you can go here and you can change your grunge amount. You can dial it up. You can change the level of wear. It's all using that curvature map. We've got, what is this? Wear contrast. You've got your edge smoothness. So kind of like, you can start there. That's using the ambient occlusion map. You can see how it feathers it out based on that ambient occlusion. And then the masking. Curvature weight. It's right there. how much is that contributing, and the grunge scale. So you can take up the scale of this too. So that's pretty sweet. So I mean, come on, that's pretty awesome. I mean, it's like all that work is done for you, and you can go through and just, you know, fine tune it a little bit. And now I think in the next, I don't know if it was in this version of Painter or is the next one, but I remember hearing in them saying that you're now going to be able to actually paint on this mask layer. I don't know if let me see if this is right. You can actually paint on the layer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's on this version yet, but you're going to be able to actually paint onto this mask layer and add more. So if you wanted to change up this layer, you can actually paint on it. But I don't know if this is the version that it's supporting yet. It might be in the next version. Or it might be in this version, I just don't know how to do it yet. So that's kind of cool, knowing that that's in the future. Okay, another thing too is, like, you know, notice how shiny this plastic is. So I'm going to take this down a little bit. We can go here and change the roughness value of that. So you can give it, like, you know, you can take off the sheen out of the roughness. You can also dial in the metallic information. You can see how that gets more of a metal paint on there. So you have control over all these variables. It's just so powerful. So I'll bring that up a little bit so it's not as shiny. So then let's add some dirt to this. So this is where it's all at. You just want, again, you just want to use the defaults. You want to, like, you know, you want to layer up, you want to do all your custom stuff. So the next thing we do is we add another fill layer, and this time we're going to choose this uniform rubber or whatever, just to give it a dark color. And then we'll go here, add black mask, add generator, and dirt. Look at that, you got your dirt. Let me see, I think we need to invert that. No, okay, actually that's not right, because you can see how the crevices don't have dirt in it. So that's fine, we'll invert it back. So there's our dirt layer. You can toggle on and off. You can see there's dirt. So we'll take that level, make it really dirty. Take that grunge down a little bit. Let's see here. Contrast. What else have we got here? Dirt level, contrast, grunge amount, and edge masking. So there you go. And this is using the ambient based on that. You know, we have everything turned on, like the helmet back and the. You can see how it's interacting there. So that's pretty cool. Let's turn on. What's else? So we did the foam rubber. We did the face. We did the helmet ring. The tube connectors are just elements. But I just added some grungy steel on there. And again, I did these intentionally. I wanted these to be separate, so I can just easily go in and paint these out and have like a high enough map. Again, like if this is for a game, this is probably not the most optimal way, because I'm using I'm not efficiently using my texture space, but this is just for Marmoset example. I wasn't planning on doing this as a game asset, because these are all high-res pieces for my. These are relatively high pieces for what I'm considering like a lower intermediate model right now. But you can use this for like production. So like if I was going to do maybe a commercial piece or something where this resolution here is enough, and these maps will hold up just fine. I don't need. I mean, I can export them. I can do 4K maps. Actually, let's try this real quick. So if I solo these guys, for instance, and we'll zoom in a little bit here. So it gets a little bit mush. You can kind of see there. This is a 2K map. I've been using the full texture space here. So let's go over here and change this. We'll take the size to 4K, and we'll let it think for a second. And it's going to go through. So the red bar kicks in, and what it's doing is it's recomputing all the strokes that I did for this. And we'll let it go. Let it think here. I think it's working. I can see that red bar started. Let's let it go for a second here. I think it should be moving. So if I go back to 2K, so if I go down, I think it's just taking a while for it to kick in, because I know it's doing something. Let's go to my activity monitor and see what's going on here. Let's see. I don't know. Is it doing it? That red bar should be kicking in. It looks like it was starting to do something, but it stopped. I thought when you change it here, it recalculates it, but I'm not seeing it recalculate. Anyhow, it normally would have done this. It would have gone through and it would recalculate, and it would pop with a new resolution. And you can kind of see the difference between the maps. Now, this version just came out the other day, and oh, there it goes. Something's happening. That bar just moved. I don't know how to stop this. I think it's going, but maybe let's see if I take it down drastically. It's like 512. If it'll catch up. And I'm also doing it just on this texture set, so it should kick in. Yeah, I don't see it doing it. Something's happened though. This red bar moved. All right, I'm not gonna sit there and waste time having this redraw. We'll just take my word for it. This thing, what it does, it recalculates this, so you can actually go back and change your size before you output, which works great. So if you need that, go up to 4K, you can do that, and it'll recompute that map a little bit crisper. But I've been finding like 2K's been fine for, you're not gonna see that close, so that's been working nicely. And these guys here, if I go to this material, you can see here there's a steel scratched smart material. Expand this out here, you can just go see the layer. So we got over here, you got a dirt layer, turn that off. You got the coating and the metal. And you know what? Something's happening because it is actually it's not updating. So something's going on here. I think I went in some weird mode here where it looks like it's doing something, but it's not. And I don't think I can escape out of it. I should be seeing stuff update. Oh, there you go. So there's the base metal. There's the coating. And there's the dust. Oh, no, look at that. Okay, there's 512 right there. Let's go back to solo. You can see how blurry it is. That's a 512 map. If you go down to 128, there you go. So see how fast that's pretty grungy, and that's unacceptable. You would never go down that low. So go back up. Let's do 256. 512. 1K. 1K is usable on mobile. 2K. Wait for it. There you go. Now let's see if we can go 4K. Let's see how long it takes. 4K. It's starting. And should we wait for it? I don't think so. It's going to take a while. Yeah, it's going to take a while for it to kick in. But anyhow, that's pretty cool. So you can see how easy it is to go up and down on your levels. But that was this piece here was one of the insert mesh brushes that I used just to find something that could work as a connector, and I just subdivided it 3 times in Maya before bringing it over, and so that's the resolution that it's at, and it came out great. So I mean, those pieces look great. All right, so all these pieces are done. Then when you're ready to go, you say export your textures, pick your area, and then you take all the sets you want to do, and when you expand this, you see it does all these. So you get this, you got all the maps that are over in the list, and once you're good, you hit it, and then they export really fast, and then we go into Marmoset. So let me, I'm actually gonna, what's my memory like here? Let me see. Just want to check and see if my memory's, I'm pretty good. I'll leave this running. Okay, so now let's stow that. I'm gonna quit ZBrush for now. I'm gonna save that. Let's quit that. All right, so let's go over to Marmoset. So here's the scene already done, but I should show you guys how easy it is to pop and drop these into. So I got all these like crazy cool lens effects and depth of field on and stuff. I'm gonna try to turn some of the stuff off for now. Turn off these lights. So when you bring it in, this is, you know, it comes in with all just default. It comes out even with like a default material, and then again, nicely you have your. This is an FBX file, so this is the low model. And you'll see here all my objects come in. So you, they all come in low, and then you have to go through and you have to set your maps. So for example, we'll do the collar. So I'm just going to turn off these guys here, and here's the collar. So when you first bring this in, it'll have a whatever material that you specified in Maya will be it'll be here already. So it's color 1, and we're just gonna turn all this stuff off. So this is what and we'll turn off. What's that last bit of business in there? See, none for that. None. 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 Okay, that's what you get when we come in. And I got some film grain going on because I think I was playing on the grain on here or something on this post effect. Let me go presets, default. That should be all good. So here you are in Marmoset. You can move around your lights as well. I'm using I bought both of the panel packs. The Italian countryside panel pack and the Japan panel pack. So I'm using one of the Japan night scenes with some cool lights. So this is our default model, and we need to start adding our map. So the 4 that are in here is the albedo, the I'm sorry, I just closed these down. The reflectivity, and by default it's set to specular, but you're going to change it to metal. Microsurface is gloss, and then the surface is normals. So these 4 slots will be open when you first load these in, and this is one of those things where you have to like. I looked on the forums, and there's like a what maps conform to what because they're named a little bit differently, but once you figure it out, it's really simple. So the albedo is your base color map. So you basically click on the slot here, and we go over to our directory, and I have a directory here, the Helmet version 5 maps, and you'll see every single object had 7 maps associated with it. So this is the collar. So we go to color, and then the base color is the albedo. So when I click on that, you'll see that the color map came in. And then let's go ahead and we'll add the normal. So over here, and it's color 1. Where are we at here? It's the normal OpenGL. Okay, so that, and you can see you toggle it on and off. You can see right there the effect of that map. So again, the power of a normal map give you all that little extra detail. You have to worry about doing displacement maps. So this looks pretty good. Then we've got the gloss map, or this is referred to as the roughness. So color roughness. And then one thing you want to do here is you want to invert this. So this one's I learned about. So you pick this and you invert it, and that's the correct application for that map. And then the final one is the reflectivity. So you want to change, if you add this, it's the metallic map. So we go here, color 1 metallic, and you'll see that it's a little bit too contrasty. What you need to do here is you need to change the specular to metalness. I'm sorry, I did the wrong one. Did I change that? Hold on, what did I do? Cancel that out. There we go. I think I just grabbed the wrong one. Change this to color metallic. There we go. Metal, albedo, gloss, and then normal. And of course, he's gonna look a little bit different because I've got this darker HDRI in here. But that's the translation of using those maps over from Substance Painter. And then I added some lights. So there's a white light source, and I had another rim light, a blue light. And I put these out a little bit so I wouldn't get. But if you click on the map on the light, you can see that the white arrow is the direction of the light. So if you change this to like a directional light source, that's what it is. So you go here and you can add your lights. Then you get up to 3 lights that contribute shadows. I think also that's what comes over for the viewer. And you can easily move these guys around. Just kind of select the. Actually, it's a little bit confusing because especially like this color here is like this is a blue light and it's making this white arrow to be blue. They should change up a little bit the icon so it's a little easier to know what you're choosing, but you get the idea. And you can actually change the width and size of this, so you can, and this will actually show up in your reflections. So you can see here as I change the size, you see how it shows up in the reflections. You can, it's like a card that you place out and light it. So you have all control over that. Change your brightness and the distance and the attenuation curve of the fall off. So that's pretty cool. And then the other pieces. So when I did the glass face, let's turn on the face. I tried doing the subsurface skin stuff, but I don't know if I have the right map. It says they want you to try. I watched this video and it said for the you turn on the diffusion, you select skin, and then they want you to use a map. It's an ambient occlusion map that's generated from inverted normals, and I didn't know how to do that. So what I did is I just took my ambient occlusion map and I tried doing an inversion of it in Photoshop, but it didn't work right. So I just dropped this one in. It's doing something, but I don't know if it was doing it right, and I need to explore this a little bit more. It was late last night when I did this, so. But you can have effect over some of these variables here. So you can simulate the subsurface scattering, but I just didn't know if I was doing it right. So let's add back in our other pieces here the helmet back. So that all came in. We've got the ring and the foam and the tubing. So there's the basic stuff, and then I had the eye inner, which is just a simple shape I made. Trying to did the iris, and the pupil is just like it's hollow in there, but I'm still seeing it back into the eye there. I had to readjust the geometry inside there, and then I made an eye outer, which is the outer is like the metallic area with the cornea has like a little bit of a bump on it, so we'll specify that as a glass material and take up the gloss. And then we've got the helmet, the faceplate, and this is like what you get. And you can go in here and I tried playing around with a couple different things on the glass here. Where's that at? Where is my inner foam eye outer? Here it is, gloss plate. Okay, so, and I'm still learning this too. I wanted to get the maps. I added the in Painter. I added this this map where I just kind of give it like a grungy texture. I think I can maybe use these in the different channels, and I actually did a little paint here of if I turn that off, you can see I did a little, where's it at? I hand painted in some, oh wait, I'm sorry, that's not the right, I'm on the wrong one. Let me pick the, there we go. So here it was a steel gun aged, and then you can see here on this layer here, I did some little sand blasted particles to give it some grunge and see if I can use that as a roughness map. And again, it was late the night. It was not last night. The night before. It was really late. And I was trying to set it up, and I'm not seeing some of this stuff show up here. I wanted to see more of the grunge, more of the scratches. So I need to read up a little bit more and figure out how. You can see a little bit of. I think I was getting some roughness. You can see how the reflections are. You can see those little pits in there. So I was getting something from the normal map. If I turn that on and off, you can see it right there. You can see it kind of kick in. It just perturbs the normals enough that you see there's something there. So I need to figure out how to get this microsurface also to kick in more, add more grunge. And this albedo, I don't think it's doing something, but I have to learn how to use this right. So I have to learn how to get these maps set up correctly, and then send these guys over to the viewer. So when you're ready to send this over to the viewer, it's really simple. You just go here and say, where is it? File, viewer, export, and then you set where you want to set it out to. Give it a title, author, and you put a link to your website, and then you can specify low, high, or unreasonable. I usually keep it to high, knowing what maps I use, but I check it the low because when you want to export this and use it in your ArtStation account, currently you need to keep it. It needs to be under 15 megabytes. So you got to take into account your geometry plus all those maps, and it packages everything up. And you can actually write an HTML file that you can test in your browser. Now the thing is, Safari. There's a couple of tricks you need to do. I can't get it to work in Safari that easily, but Firefox it does work. So you just open up the HTML file. So I just saved these from the other night. So this was the first attempt I did, and this was at 2K maps, but it was a little bit too large to upload. So you can see here the resolution of that map looks pretty nicely, and it's drawing pretty fine. If you were to host this on your own site, you could probably have more than 15 megabytes of data. But with ArtStation, they only support no more than 15. So then I tried a second one. I did the low resolution maps. So you can see here it gets a little bit mushy, especially in that ring there. You can see the differences, especially here too on the collar. You can see how you got some nice, you can see the nice grunge here, and you come over here and the lower map, it's all blurry. So you definitely have to take that into account. If I was going to really spend more time on this, I could probably like re-topologize this a little bit more in this, and then not have the high res maps for that. One other thing I'm trying to figure out here is that I couldn't get the lighting to be as brilliant as I had it, even though I added those two light sources in. I still wasn't getting the contribution. Now you see the colors here, and I think I tried upping it a little bit, but I needed to play around to see how come these were coming out. These are a little too dull for my taste, so I need to fool around with that. But I have successfully output some other ones as well, with like the wagon I did and the sticker robot character I did the other day. So that's how easy it is to get that. And then a lot of people were coming on the Instagram video I did, and I had to do a little. I've got it here. I'll show you. I had to do this little homage to 2001. So I put it up on my Instagram. Hold on here. I sent it to Dropbox. Where did I put that at? Apps, ScreenFlow. Is it in here? Helmet head. Here we go. So this was a quick little test. And it should be saying it's full of stars. Let's see, did it say it?
It's full of stars.
There you go.
This was a quick little.
All right, let me turn on my audio. So yeah, so this was I used ScreenFlow to record that and just set up a little in and out transition, but that was all done in real time. So back in Marmoset, here we are, and so let's start playing around with some of the cool post effects that you can do in real time. So that's where this program really shines. Is you go over here to your camera, and you start turning on things like depth of field, which I freaking love. And look at that. You can change your focal distance on the fly, and you can see it update in real time. And you can change the near blur and the far blur, and just kind of fine tune this. And you can render this out as a still if you want to. It resolves really nicely. You can turn on shadows for your lights. So if I go to the lights here, you can they cast shadows. You can see how they obviously it doesn't look right without shadows. So it's a little too bright, brilliant. So you can cast your shadows. And you can see here how you're getting some really cool this lens flare blur happening, the glare. You can go over here and you can change that. Where's that here? I have to scroll down here. It's under the post effects. So if you go here and you take up your bloom, you can actually dial in the bloom amount, the size of the bloom. You can vignette the actual the view frame that you're viewing this through. And you can actually add film grain too, which is kind of fun. So if you want to do a nice still there, you can add film grain in. And here's tone mapping, so you can change some of your exposure stuff. And you have these presets here, so you can like try some of these different ones, like burnt. Let's see what else we got here, like sepia soft. So you can actually get these different looks that are presets, and it's all real time. Let's see, vivid. It's pretty cool. And then as you're playing around with this, you can you hold on the shift, and then you can move around. You can see your maps, how they're reflecting in there, and how the light's interacting. I love this stuff when it goes over the. You can see look at how the little dancing bokeh there looks great. Oh, here's my favorite stuff to do is go in and add a little bit of flare. Let's see. I think it's worked the other time. I think something was up with this. The chromatic aberration. This is fun. So you just you tweak this a little bit, and you get that little imperfect video look. You see like the outline there, and I just love doing that kind of stuff. You can do a little bit of barrel distortion or pincushion. So, and look at that, it's all real time. So you can like move around and you can view this in real time. It's freaking cool. Look at that. Love all the stuff here. All the cool happy accents you get there is great. Let's take that back down to 0. Chromatic aberration, I love keeping that on a little bit. And then for the animation, I just went ahead here and they only offer like this turntable stuff, so I just hit play and just basically let the background move, and then as the background's moving, I'm just like moving the camera, so I kind of move it in the same direction that the lights are moving. Because if I do the other direction, I'm kind of fighting that rotation. But at least this way, you can I kind of just like hand animated this a little bit with my mouse. So Marmoset guys, I really love the ability to be able to keyframe this stuff, and I'm hoping that at some point we might get to see FBX animation supported in here, so I can have an animated character and animated cameras, and output this stuff as a final render. God, this would be awesome to have all these post effects done real time. So I guess I'll have to play around with that in Unity. I mean, I'm sorry, in Unreal, because I know you can do a certain amount of this stuff in Unreal and use that as a cinematic engine. So I'll play around with that soon. I'll probably take this model to play around in Unreal. I'll probably re-topo some stuff and bring it over and see what I can get. But right there, I mean, just being able to see this in real time is awesome. Let's stop that. You can actually render out a turntable if you wanted to. Here's some of the stuff you can change here. You put your watermark on. Lighting. There's a if you go to where's that turntable, you can go over here and it'll capture a turntable for you. Needs a little bit more options, but I think that's just basically I can't remember if how many frames it does based on. I don't think there's a frame rate you said. I think it just does it. So I let it do it before, and we'll see what we get here. And I can't remember if how many post effects show up. We'll see. Let it do its thing here. It's like almost halfway done. And then it gives you the option to open up that folder too, so I'll load those frames up. Render. Where did it save it to? hope it saved it to the directory that I just told it to. Marmoset. Where did it save it to? Alright, now I'm confused because it didn't ask me where to save it. I can't remember if I hear settings. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Output folder. Cancel. Where's my show output folder? Oh, it did it to desktop. Dope. And it did it to turntable. Here we go. Alright, so let's load that up. And it did just 1 second, it looks like. So there we go. Those are the frames. So just did one sequence. And let me see if I can do this here. Allow me to play that back. No. You know what? I can't remember if you can do an image sequence in the new version of QuickTime. That's why I keep the old one around. Because in QuickTime 7, you can load up an image sequence. Just if I do a quick down and dirty, so desktop, turntable, select all, or just select the first one, open. There we go. And it created a QuickTime. So it's pretty choppy. It's 1 second. I don't know how to change. Is there a way to change it over here? Let's see. This is settings. Sampling. Here we go. So those are frame rate. So you can change it right there. You can change the duration and the frame rate. So I can do like a 5 second turn. You can rotate your scene camera to the sky, which is cool. But you'll notice that it did all the post effects. So there we go. So you have all your chromatic aberration and all the cool lens flare and stuff, and the depth of field. Awesome. So you do your fancy turntables here with all the effects on. So, with that being said, I'm going to keep this one short. This was an hour and 15 about. So this was just basically to kind of show you guys how easy it is to get in there and get that workflow going. And I really encourage you to go check out Wes McDermott's Substance Painter for Beginners up on YouTube. Let me see if I have that up here. I don't have it up. But, oh wait, I do. No, I don't. Hold on. I don't have it. I was going to go and show you guys that. Let me see if I go into YouTube really quick here on this other one, and I'll show you where I'm at. Let's see. There's a ton of stuff online here too, but if you go to the algorithmic page, there's a playlist, and let's grab this over on this monitor. So right here. I'm sorry, that was my playlist. Here we go. So this Substance Painter Texturing for Beginners, 33 videos. So I've only gotten through the first 6, but there's a ton of stuff where you can like go through wherever you want to, but he covers everything. So I got to make the time to watch these all. I'm just trying to watch them when I can. But again, watch these. You guys will learn so much. So just go to the algorithmic page up on YouTube and learn, because it's awesome. And then I just found some Marmoset tutorials as well online up on YouTube. So that's it. So for 2 really inexpensive pieces of software, you can get some amazing results. And I'm just having a blast with it. I'm just finally starting to get my groove with it too. I'm just finally getting used to it and getting comfortable, especially with Painter. It took a while to get up to speed, but once you do, it's good. So thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully these will be archived for a while. So if you guys want to come back and take a look at this, you can. And I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll probably do another Twitch soon. Maybe not tomorrow night, but maybe Monday night. We'll see. All right. Thanks again for tuning in, guys.